She tries to start.
I'm weak.
Welcome to Aphug World News. I'm Andrew McChickenwing.
I'm Barbara McStuffin.
And I'm Catherine McTatertots.
Our first story of the evening is the Ethiopian and Eritrean border conflict. On to Bob's Burgers with the history of these countries and more on the conflict. Thanks, Andrew McChickenwing. Before there was a border clash between the two countries, there was a clash for independence. In 1962, Ethiopia annexed Eritrea, which turned into a province. Eritrea fought for their independence through coups and battles up until 1993, when they finally became independent and joined the UN. There was a harsh tension between Eritrea and Ethiopia up until 1998, when a full-scale war came into being over where the border was, which killed over 70,000 people. In the year 2000, there was a ceasefire and peace agreements were made. The peace agreements soon became worthless and the disputing ensued. Ever since then, there has been countless arguments between the two countries, and peace does not seem to be in sight. Back to you, Ms. McTatertots.
Thanks, Bob. I'm here with Michelle Lopez with an exclusive inside look at the United States and United Nations position in this conflict. Hello, Michelle.
Hi, Catherine.
Let's get into it. Can you tell me a little bit more on the United States position in this conflict?
Yeah, sure. Although the U.S. didn't have a significant effect on the conflict, we can see involvement. Like the U.S. supported Ethiopia's Emperor Haile Selassie for numerous years for several reasons. But the U.S. did give Ethiopia aid, in which was used against Eritrea.
Okay, now what about the United Nations position?
Okay. Well, in 2000, the UN created a mission to help the conflict. This mission consists of sending over military observers to supervise the withdrawal of Ethiopian troops in Eritrea's territory. Despite our hardest efforts, it always seems to backfire in our faces. In 2005, Eritrea bans UN helicopter flights in its airspace. Later along, the UN also warns both countries that they will be punished unless they go back to the 2000 peace deal. In December of 2005, Eritrea orders the expulsion of North America, European, and Russian peacekeepers from the UN mission monitoring its border with Ethiopia.
All right, Michelle, do you agree that the United Nations is trying to help solve this problem?
Yes, we oftenly talk with them to try to establish a peace treaty in both countries to solve the conflict. And we also send civilian support staff, so we worry more about the civilians than the conflict.
Michelle, I have one last question for you. Is this conflict still occurring?
Well, it's hard to say. In May of 2000, Ethiopia claimed to have ended the war against Eritrea. In December of 2000, a peace deal was signed in hope that both countries will ease the fire. But till this day, there is still some tension between both countries. The most recent huge activity occurred this past summer, when President Obama made a visit to Ethiopia to talk with the Prime Minister to try to settle the problem once and for all.
Thank you, Michelle.
No, thank you.
There are two opposing sides to this conflict, Ethiopia and Eritrea. Ethiopia is trying to conquer Eritrea because they depend on them for shipping and trading goods. With the help of the Soviets, Ethiopia is determined to claim Eritrea as their own, while also fighting Ethiopian rebel groups who are fighting against harsh dictatorship and Ethiopian people who are dying of starvation due to this conflict. On the other hand, we have Eritrea, who is rebelling against Ethiopia for their freedom and their country. Eritrea fueled this fire by making its own currency in 1997. Eritrean children are being captured and used in war just because of their ethnicity. So far, 750,000 Eritreans have fled from their home due to this violent conflict.
Well, that was very insightful, don't you think?
Sure.
I'm Andrew McChickenwing.
And I'm Catherine McTatertot.
And this has been another episode of Aphug World News.
Back to headquarters with Mr. Valio.
Welcome to Aphug World News. I'm Andrew McChickenwing, and y'all need to hush.
Hello, Michelle.
Hi, Catherine.
Let's get into it. Can you tell me a little bit more on the United States' position on this conflict?
Girl, first is UN.
You said I was going. Thank you, Andrew.
There are two opposing sides in this conflict.